Hey everybody, welcome back to the IGN Movies Podcast, Keeping It Real. Jim, Roth, Chris Carl, all here to bring you the week that was in movie news and rumors. We had a lot to talk about this week, starting with this Sunday, the Academy Awards, the 87th Academy Awards.
Yes. Do you still get excited about the Oscars? Do you remember getting excited as a kid?
Oh yeah, as a kid, I loved the Oscars.
I mean, I think just by virtue of covering the industry for so long, it wanes a little bit because when you're growing up and you love movies, it's like the Super Bowl for movie fans.
Yeah.
Now we hear about the Oscar campaign season forever. And but no, I
Too
guess
much
I'd
of the
still,
making of the sausage.
Yeah. Yes.
Also for me, I have to say, I love the Oscars, but the Oscars are such a narrow category now.
Yeah.
Like that, it's like, if movies with crying and, and social issues. That's basically what the Oscars are now.
Yeah.
And some animated movies, not even the right ones. Like that's kind of how the Oscars are now. So it's, I think from that perspective, like it's a little taken down. Like even when we were kids, I feel like there was more, it was like a wider swath of movies.
I mean,
Stewart is basically obsessed with making a script about all these women who lose their clothes, and he's super adamant about it. It's so funny.
but anyway, to bring us back around to the original point is, I think that if you had those two it would actually serve the movie-going experience a lot better today if we still had those two categories.
I could see that coming back at some point.
It might,
Because the fact of the matter is...
Most bombastic movie.
Loudest POS.
People are not going to see 2 Days and One Night in the theater. I saw Still Alice in the theater this past weekend with about 5 other humans in the theater. Like, people are watching this on VOD. They're going to see the spectacle films in the theater. That's just the reality.
And TV has kind of become the home for some of the stuff that movies used to do. And I feel like most people now, and you can tell by the box office, are going for big stuff.
Yeah.
And even small budget stuff is marketed to a mass audience, like the horror stuff. So all these indie kind of things are falling by the wayside, indie movie houses. Especially, I mean, in LA, I think there'll always be a tradition of that. But like, if you're living in Kansas or something, or Wisconsin, where I come from, it's tough to sometimes see those littler movies.
Those second-run theaters were really key to catching films. I mean, we used to have a dollar cinema. And that was a great thing until they screwed up the reels. And Last of the Mohicans, which was already a long movie, became 4 hours. Ditto Heat. But to your point about kind of almost like the budgetary nature of these like smaller and mid-level films, that's one reason why a lot of people are actually celebrating American Sniper, which was, I think it was like a $60 million movie.
Yeah.
And now it's going to probably end up being the most successful movie of 2014 domestically.
That is crazy.
Nobody saw that
Nobody saw that coming. That is one of the biggest surprises of the year.
Most successful in that it made the biggest margin, because I think we can all agree that Avengers 2 is going to make the most money.
The most
No,
money
but it's going to count as a 2014.
Oh, 2014.
So it's going to be bigger than Mockingjay and bigger than Guardians.
Oh.
So that's
crazy.
Yeah, it is really insane. I mean, and there's a whole other discussion to be had, and I think we actually did have, about why that is. There's also not a lot of competition right now. But I think there's a million other reasons why that movie was successful.
Well, let's get into that, because I think it does directly tie into the Oscar race. Do you think for lack of a better term, the surge of American Sniper and its popularity at the box office, do you think that will affect its chances at winning Best Picture? The Best Picture nominees are just American Sniper, Birdman, Boyhood, The Grand Budapest Hotel, The Imitation Game, Selma, The Theory of Everything, and Whiplash. So, American Sniper, do we think the fact that there has been this commercial and popular groundswell around the movie, will it be kind of like Braveheart in that sense?
No. I think that I think that right now there's an outside chance that Sniper could come in and shock everybody at the Academy Awards with either a Best Picture win or Bradley Cooper. However, to date, it has been a 2-horse race with Birdman and Boyhood.
Yeah.
And which is what were the 2 films that we were talking about that
Yeah.
are these smaller films that nobody could have foreseen that it was a 2-horse race between these films. Could Sniper come in and take it if they cancel each other out? I think it's definitely an outside possibility.
Yeah.
But that isn't the one that I will ultimately predict.
I do think, though, too, we shouldn't necessarily rule out Grand Budapest Hotel, because that's been cleaning up on a lot of technical awards, and I think it's favored to win original screenplay.
Yeah, I think it will easily.
So, I mean, it might get that as, but it did well at the Globes, and I don't know, it could be the recipient of, like you said, other movies kind of canceling each other out.
Right now, though, in the precursor season, that you're looking at all of the critical awards, sort of the smaller critics awards, the Golden Globes, BAFTA, everything has gone to either Boyhood or Birdman at this point. If you look at the guilds, you would probably, it just won DGA.
Yeah, it won the PGA, the Producers
it won the
Guild,
PGA.
not the golf thing.
And
Got its jacket.
Should win, but I think Boyhood might eke out the victory.
so you're going Boyhood.
I don't know. I'm really
You got
on
to
the
check
fence.
the box.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to say Birdman will and should, although, I don't know, I liked Selma, I think, a little bit more.
Selma's got no shot.
Yeah, oh, no, I know. Actually, I mean, some of my favorite movies this year weren't even nominated, so.
Yeah.
All right, so.
Where's the Babadook?
I know, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, you can have Gone Girl, you can have 10 nominees, and you only put up 8.
Yeah.
What up with that, Hollywood?
No, I know.
That's going to be our next show. What up
What
with
up with
that,
that, Hollywood? But there's so many questions
Followed
about...
by WTF Gotham.
Yeah, I agree. There's so many questions in that regard, but I think that if we're just boiling it down to, because we could have a whole other conversation about that, about what's left off and what sort of has been shoved to the side this season. But so you're going Birdman?
Birdman.
What will and should win. So let's move on to the next category.
So it'll definitely be Boyhood.
You know what? I think
We've been really good on predictions, actually.
I think
here.
it's actually a very interesting year, because I wouldn't be surprised if Boyhood got it. I mean, it's not like...
I wouldn't either.
I don't feel like anything is breaking out ahead of the pack. But Birdman has kind of trended that way the last couple of weeks. But
it's really tough to say this year. I would say that the 2 hardest to predict categories this year are, there's some that are a lock, but the 2 hardest to predict categories this year are Best Picture and Best Director. Really, really tough.
Yeah.
Well, actually, let's talk about Best Director then. I was going to do Actor, but yeah, I think this is a better segue, and we all know I love my segues. Best Director nominees: Wes Anderson, Grand Budapest Hotel; Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, I think I'm saying his name right, Birdman; Richard Linklater, Boyhood; Bennett Miller, Foxcatcher; Moulton Tildum, The Imitation Game.
There's your winner.
That's our new Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah. He did that movie Headhunters. I didn't realize
that
was
movie's
him.
so good.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation for this week, and I'll get into that later.
Yeah. So
Recommendation.
we think we've been saying kind of off-camera stuff. We really think it's a 2-man, unfortunately, race. Sorry, Ava DuVernay. But
did you see the Key and Peele sketch about the Oscars?
No.
It was like the Super Bowl Oscar sketch. It was so
I haven't
amazing.
seen it.
There's my recommendation. Go watch the Key and Peele sketch about the Super Bowl and the Oscars.
So we think Best Director is between Linklater for Boyhood and Inarritu for Birdman.
Yes.
Do we agree with that? Or do we think Wes Anderson, they'll probably throw him Best Original Screenplay?
Yeah, I think that's
He's
how
like,
he'll
it's like the way
win.
they gave Tarantino that for Pulp
Yeah.
Fiction, but he didn't get director.
So bad that that was on last night, and I was like, again, how
I saw
this movie is so good.
Pulp Shakespeare recently. It's called Pulp Shakespeare (parentheses) or Bard Fiction, and it's hilarious. I think it's a touring show, but it's mostly LA. But it's what if Shakespeare wrote Pulp Fiction, and they translated it into like Shakespearean type language, and it's hilarious. Instead of saying it's the one that says bad mother, it's like it's the one that says blasted Oedipus. Anyways, so Best Director, do we think it really is just a 2-person race?
When I was getting ahead of myself earlier, he won. And I really don't interrupt
he?
you.
And
I don't think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, so forgive me. But at the DGA, but Linklater's been so beloved to date, and he's it's really been split between the 2 of them. But I think that ultimately that Linklater is going to take Best Director because I think that I think Birdman is beautifully directed. But if you think about what it is that's appealing to people about Boyhood, it's his big experiment. It's the fact that he invested 12 years to do this thing that hadn't been done, and it's really, really very much about what he did as a director, even way more than the performances,
or even the story.
You know,
well, you have to think about that kid too, and say that this guy was able to kind of like take him through 12 years of his life and get a pretty consistent performance out of him.
I mean,
at the very
it's
least.
slightly uneven, but he was growing up. Nobody could know that he was going to be an actor or not. And the fact that he was able to get even a mostly consistent performance.
I mean, uneven actually works though for a kid because your personality does change. And you're, when he was a moody teenager, it showed in his performance. And when he was like a smoother young man, it showed,
I mean, uneven in terms of like it wasn't a
sign on the line or whatever it was. He said,
I am signing on the line.
decision.
I'm saying Linklater will. Either one of them should.
Okay. That didn't help.
I give Inarritu a little bit the edge.
Okay.
As a director.
All right. So Linklater will and probably should. Let's move on to Best Actor. We have
this one's another tough one, right?
this. Well, yeah, but again, I think it's a two-man race. But the nominees
Jake
are
Gyllenhaal. Oh wait,
He should have been
Chris
there.
Pratt as
Nightcrawler was great. If you guys haven't seen it,
So good.
Nightcrawler.
yeah, Steve Carell, Foxcatcher, Bradley Cooper, American Sniper, Benedict Cumberbatch, The Imitation Game, Michael Keaton, Birdman, Eddie Redmayne, The Theory of Everything. And it's basically, it does seem like it's a two-man race between Keaton and Redmayne.
You know, Redmayne, I think, probably has the edge at this point, assuming that no one saw Jupiter Ascending, which we probably are assuming that. But he does.
He's not nominated for that.
Look, he was great in that movie. The Academy, look, let's face it, they love this kind of story. They love this kind of performance. That's whether it's My Left Foot or that has not only an emotional element to it, but yeah, it does have a technical challenge for an actor. That having your body do something that it does not do for that consistent a period of time, it's actually really not easy. And to sell it, so that we really believe that this is what is happening for him. So it was a technical challenge for him in a way that it wasn't for other people. So I do think he has the edge. The only surprise for me, again, could be Bradley Cooper. That could be a dark horse, but I love Michael Keaton so.
Yeah.
This is the performance of his life.
Yeah, like I don't think this is as good as it's going to get for him.
Yeah.
I don't see him, because he works so inconsistently. He's a guy who's happy with his life outside of Hollywood. That this could be the only time he ever gets nominated. He should have been nominated for Clean and Sober, but he wasn't. And so I hope that for no other reason than, look, they've done this in the past, like the You've Earned It award. Like, give it to Keaton. Redmayne's what, maybe 30?
He has plenty of opportunity in the future to.
And also, it's like, I do have this kind of knee-jerk reaction to like such an Oscar bait formula for that movie.
You're saying
For Theory of Everything. Yeah, it is. It very much is. But again, like I do get it in the sense that that isn't an easy thing to do. What he did, it really isn't.
But some people, and I think this was one of the reactions from the anonymous Academy voters that THR spoke to, was that he was just doing an impersonation, a great impersonation, but whereas Keaton had to create a character out of whole cloth, I think is how they put it. I think there's something to be said for that, too.
Well, the whole cloth of Michael Keaton experience that he is obviously drawing from. I mean, I'm not saying that those characters are equal, but he definitely has some of the, I was Batman, and people think of me as Batman.
There's part of me that thinks, I wonder if he's playing Nicolas Cage.
That's what I think, yeah. If anything, because that experience isn't actually Michael Keaton's experience. Michael Keaton's life has been pretty happy. It's really Nicolas Cage's experience.
Well, I mean, who are we to say if Nicolas Cage is happy or not either, but
He looks so bummed.
Hey, he was just an outcast with Hayden Christensen.
He just looks so bummed.
So here's what I think. I actually think Eddie Redmayne is not going to win this. I do think Michael Keaton's going to win it. I think for the reason that you said, Jim, I think Keaton's going to win it. It's going to make everybody feel really good.
Lifetime achievement.
And Eddie Redmayne is essentially going to have like 10 to 15 more shots at this thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I'm thinking will happen. And realizing that's kind of a long shot based on some evidence that we have already. But I think for this one, I want to say sentimental win for Keaton, who is very deserving, who's probably the most deserving as far as I'm concerned. But like in terms of the Academy, sentimental win.
Eddie Redmayne won SAG. He won BAFTA. He won the Globe. Keaton won the Globe too for comedy or musical. But I don't know. I'm really on the fence about this one because I want my heart. I think, and here's
my actual personal favorite.
Yeah, well, here's where I'm a little torn is that I think that Gone Girl was made by Rosamund Pike's performance, and it was brilliant. And in another year, she would have won. Julianne, I really think she could have had a lot more heat on her. But Julianne Moore has been nominated 5 times, has never won. Yep. I think the Academy she's at that age where they are ready to honor her for her.
It's her Susan Sarandon year.
It's her Susan Sarandon, her collective body of work. I think it's actually a similar thing. Not only that, and that's not to dismiss this performance, because she has to go from a woman who is an internationally renowned academic to no longer able to speak by the end of the movie because she's got Alzheimer's. And so, and it's even in some moments she has to switch between coherent and not. It's a really beautiful performance. So I'm kind of torn. I think they're both great. I wish Rosamund Pike was in a different year.
I know. It is. That actually is an interesting thing. Like, if you look back at some of the races, like, dude, if your movie had just opened up 3 months later, it'd be a completely different story right now. Yeah. Let's talk about supporting actor. Pretty much J.K. Simmons in Whiplash. Will should.
Lock, win.
Okay.
Done.
Best supporting actress. Patricia Arquette's winning
and
everything.
Should win.
And he should win. So we all agree he should will. Patricia Arquette is pretty much a lock at this point.
Yeah, the thing with Patricia Arquette, too, is, like, it's pretty much a performance that could have been a Best Actress nominee.
Yeah.
So
because what other actress is in that movie leading?
Yeah.
She's it. I think that's why she's in that category, honestly, is to win.
To win. Yeah, I think it was a very strategic move because they knew she'd win there, but not Best Actress.
Well, she's going up against Meryl Streep, who could win an Oscar for simply waking up in the morning, for Into the Woods, Emma Stone, Birdman, Keira Knightley, Imitation Game, Laura Dern, Wild. So do we think Arquette, she really is a total lock?
Total lock.
Okay, cool. Let's do Best Animated Feature now. In case you've missed this, Lego Movie was not nominated.
But it won in Britain.
Yeah. Well,
everything's awesome in the UK, I guess.
They
not rubbish.
Not rubbish. In fact, brilliant.
Inside joke. Animated movie. Let me just throw out the nominees real quick. Big Hero 6, The Box Trolls, How to Train Your Dragon 2, Song of the Sea, and The Tale of Princess Kaguya. So, will and should, Chris Kyle.
I think How to Train Your Dragon 2 is going to win. I haven't seen all the movies in this category, but Lego Movie should win.
Yeah, I know it's really bratty.
Even though it's not, it should. Yeah.
No, totally. That's what I think should have happened.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of bratty to say that at this point, but I'd have to agree that How to Train Your Dragon is on target to win. I think it would be really surprising to me if it doesn't, which is fine. I'm not saying anything against that movie. I loved Lego Movie. I did. Yeah.
I agree. I think How to Train Your Dragon 2 will likely win. Although I do wonder if Big Hero 6 doesn't have kind of an outside shot.
This is another category where I could see one of those smaller movies maybe eking in too, like Kaguya or something, just because Lego Movie's not there.
Box Trolls or something.
I don't think Box
Although
Trolls.
I think How to Train Your Dragon 2 could kind of be like the Brave. Apes
should win.
That's the one.
Apes should
absolutely
win.
Should.
Absolutely.
But I think there's just this weird, not anti-Andy Serkis, but I just don't think they're wrapping. I think they're voting for Nolan, basically.
Exactly, and this is why I'm going to eventually agree with you. When
I'm not there yet, but I will.
On Monday.
Once I find out that I'm wrong. I think that when in doubt in any of these given categories, whether it's hair and makeup or a visual effects category, the film that is most like a prestige film will win. So if you take something like, I thought Bad Grandpa should have won for makeup, but it didn't.
Yeah.
Dallas Buyers Club
Because of the testicles.
No, I'll tell you why it should have won. Because that entire movie rested on people in real life, in person, believing that makeup.
And believing that he had really long testicles.
God.
It happens when you get old.
Yes, and because
in
of
fact,
the
here
testicles,
they are right now.
Because of the testicles deserved an Academy Award. That movie deserved to win makeup, but it didn't win.
And exactly, I think that's a really good point. Like that movie, a movie like that will almost never win.
Yeah.
Yep.
Almost.
So that is why I think ultimately probably Interstellar will win, because it's the only place to give, Nolan,
Throw the dog a bone.
throw the dog a bone on this movie, and it is most like an Oscar movie.
Yeah. I seriously think that Apes is widely recognized as not just a good movie, but a good movie in that same kind of prestige category. And especially since it was snubbed the first time around, I'm going to give it will and should, because I think it actually, just the facial animation on the apes alone,
it's out of control.
there's that push in that opens the film where you're just like, you think you're looking at a real ape, and then it does, things that you could never train an ape to do, and you're like, okay, I'm on board.
I went to the zoo last weekend, and I saw the apes, and it was Valentine's Day, and so I started my day by going to the zoo, and then I went to see 50 Shades of Grey. And,
Two kinds of animal
Let me
behavior.
tell you, I saw something dirtier at the zoo than anything in 50 Shades of Grey.
I bet.
And it involved two apes.
And I
Yeah.
felt like the
And a
movie
butt.
really captures I feel like if anything,
Two
Planet of
apes and a
the
butt is going to be your next screenplay.
I feel like if anything, that apes captured two apes in a butt. In a way that
That's
Bad
what the whole
Grandpa's-
third movie's going to be
the way that
about.
Bad Grandpa needed to win for testicles, it should win for two apes in a butt.
Yeah. Look, she
This is
killed
like,
herself.
This is like so devolved. I'm sorry for taking us
No,
down.
I mean,
Bad Grandpa road.
to bring it around to Guardians though, like, I think Guardians is going to get shut out.
Oh, I do too.
I mean, Guardians, I would love for them to honor it, but they could have honored it by giving it a Best Picture
It doesn't
nomination
matter
or
because
something,
we
yeah.
gave it Best Picture of the Year, so
IGN
and we
knows.
know what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
And we gave apes,
right.
I believe, visual effects.
yeah.
I think I'm going to switch my vote, and on this one, vote with my heart and say apes should and will.
And well, nice.
All right, well, I'm going to stick to my guns and say Interstellar will, but
This
apes
is how
should.
Oscar campaigning works, people. I got her
Horse
on my
trading.
side.
Horse trading. You watch people fold in real time right here. Watch people's convictions go right down the toilet.
Oh, that happens all
here
the time
on
on
Keeping
this
It
podcast.
Real.
I know, I came in so strong with that, and I'm like,
And let me tell you, I'm going to buckle.
I have different feelings about Prometheus than some people, but I don't think that it was a successful Alien prequel. It was some other
AVP
thing.
Requiem, best one. No, I'm just kidding.
I liked
so-
Alien 3.
so-
I know
Yeah.
that's unpopular, but I did.
So my point with this is that not only is that a franchise that I think that for the time being we should leave alone, really just leave it alone for a period of time, but I think that he needs the opportunity to. This is a big risk for somebody whose two follow-up films to a great film have not really been that great.
Have you seen Chappie yet?
Everything I'm hearing about Chappie.
I'm seeing
Okay,
Chappie
so
soon.
yeah.
So,
neither have I. So
but
you're right,
the buzz on it has been kind of the same as Elysium, where it's like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, I think the problem with Blomkamp has been that he has not demonstrated a sort of range. He has been sort of painting from the same palette, and it's almost like everything could just be in a shared universe between Chappie and Elysium and District 9. And I think what seems so fresh in District 9, now by the time you get around to Chappie, starts to seem sort of like a retread. And I think hopefully this will be a chance for him to kind of shake things up and do something different. I mean, generally, and a lot of cynics are saying this online, that the fact that, he himself basically revealed on his Instagram the alien news, knowing that Chappie is probably going to not really make an impact, it's like, well, I better line up my next gig and make it a paycheck gig.
And also too,
Not to
it's
say he
like,
doesn't love
It's
Alien.
like in terms of that world, the one thing that I think that Prometheus got right is like, look, Ripley is an amazing character, but let's just leave her out of it now.
Well, she's probably going to be in this one.
That's my issue. Is like Ripley in Alien and Aliens is so incredible. That is just one of my favorite characters, right? Like.
You didn't like evil clone Ripley from Alien 4?
No, I did not like evil clone Ripley from Alien 4. Like I just sometimes it becomes almost abusive to something that's really a great work of art to keep mining it endlessly.
I don't want to judge this. I don't want to prejudge this because I really do believe in his ability to execute a vision, and I think this is a perfect project in which he could execute his vision. And actually go a little bit different than something like District 9. I hope he brings that same like sort of grit and feel to it, but it's clearly going to be not in that universe, right?
So who's
And
Sholto going to play in it? Because he's in it.
I
Probably.
don't. Yeah, true. I don't mind them bringing back Ripley if they do it in a good way. If they don't, like, then yeah, okay, I'll have as many
Let's
qualms
talk about
as you
the
guys
concept art a bit that he posted on his Instagram. She almost had kind of like a Borg
She
type
looked
thing.
like a cyborg. Now, like, don't get me wrong, I love cyborgs. I do. I mean, this is the thing that I really enjoy.
She's got a whole notebook full of cutout pictures of cyborgs at her
I
desk.
like cyborgs, but and having said all of this, like, stop abusing this great, material. There are franchises that I oddly don't feel that way about. Like, I love Terminator: Sarah Connor Chronicles. It's fantastic, and it's utilizing those characters and everything. I guess I feel incredibly protective. Become sort of a hero for herself,
Yeah.
And then Aliens was this great action movie, right? But if you think about something like Star Wars, look at this. That is a whole. I mean, I know that there's an expanded world when it comes to Alien 2. But Star Wars invites and natively has endless amounts of story to be told in that world.
Yeah.
Alien was a brilliant movie because of the circumstances of the movie, right? Like,
And also that she wasn't even the main character.
She wasn't even the main character. I mean, there was so much about that movie that was brilliantly done, and I just, I get loving it. I get wanting to tell your take on that world. But to be honest with you, like, maybe it'll be great, but what really are they going to bring forward?
What's left to say?
I think we all have sort of like blind spots or like things where it's going to rankle you a little bit more when they do something, because to a lot of people their breaking point was like Terminator. Terminator, they shouldn't have done this movie or whatever. We're all excited about it. We're excited about it because it looks like it's got all this possibility. Jim's not excited about it. We're excited about it.
Yeah.
So I think it's.
Which is maybe hypocritical.
Yeah,
there you go.
No, but I mean, I think I'm saying I think you take it on a project by project basis. Like, I don't really think you're dumb. I don't really think like your idea on this is bad. I think it's like, I have one take on how I see Blomkamp's movie in my head playing out. And I think it's going to be awesome. I'm like really excited about it. But like another person could be like, oh, the Terminator movie isn't going to.
Yeah, and maybe that's true. Maybe
Yeah.
it won't be good. It very well might not be. But I mean, I don't know. What to me, especially if you're going to bring Ripley into it, what are you really bringing forward about Ripley in this movie that hasn't quite been explored? And then we also had the whole AI, Ash, and there's just so much in
there's
that
some
movie
problems with reconciling some things that have been done before, but I'm hoping they do it in a smart way that. You kind of have to flush Resurrection down the toilet a little bit. Is it Resurrection? That's right?
Resurrection.
Yeah, the fourth one, yeah.
Yeah, that one was just a mess.
All right, well, I'm going to go on record and say that I'm cautiously optimistic about him doing it. I think fan petitions ever work, or is it just a hissy fit? I
think, honestly, once you get to petition phase, people, like, go forward with the project out of spite.
Yeah.
If buzz is bad online, sometimes they'll change some stuff. They're not going to change Scarlett Johansson. That's the money of that movie. By the way, anime fans, the group of people who are looking for a faithful adaptation, that you are not the target audience for this movie at all.
Yeah.
At all. The target audience of this movie is the people who went to see Lucy. And I'm sorry, I love Ghost in the Shell 2, but they're not making Ghost in the Shell 2 for you. They're making it or Ghost in the Shell, period. They're not making that for you, anime fans. They're making it for the largest possible audience, and Scarlett Johansson's the way to lock that in.
Yeah. Let's see. This podcast might actually run a little bit longer than usual because we actually have a big thing we have to talk about, which was last weekend's box office. 50 Shades of Grey, okay? It is now the biggest February release of all time. It surpassed Passion of the Christ. In 3 days, it made $85.2 million. 4 day, because it was the President's Day weekend, it made $93 million. Kingsman made $36.2 million over 3 days.
Good.
And $41.8 million over 4 days.
It's really good.
So that's nothing to sneeze at there. But 50 Shades of Grey, and it's probably going to stay #1 this weekend. You and I saw it. You have not seen the magic.
Let's talk about it, though.
Let's talk about the magic that is 50 Shades of Grey.
So, I mean, just do a tiny, couple sentence capsule review. What'd you think?
Oh dear. Tiny capsule review of 50 Shades of Grey. I think that she actually brought this character to life. Like, she was actually pretty funny and charming, and actually is to be commended for it, because it's in some ways a harder task as an actor to take a flat, uninteresting character and bring it to life than to take a great character and do a great job with it.
Make him flat and uninteresting.
Yeah. So Jamie, however,
Plenty do that.
it is appallingly bad writing. Really silly. I mean, we were having a good time kind of laughing in the first half. And then in the second half, unfortunately, it just gets kind of sleepy.
Yeah.
It's just kind of boring, and it's just a weird kaleidoscope of spanking naked bodies and angst, which you would think
Sounds like any day at IGN.
Friday night.
which you would think would be interesting, but oddly enough, I was falling a little bit asleep. It just got a little repetitive. Jamie Dornan, I thought, was terribly miscast. I mean, horrifically miscast, and that a lot of what would have sold, at least to make it more fun, a lot of what would have sold the movie was to have, if somebody like a Charlie Hunnam had been in it, or our Quinn from Homeland.
Yeah. Somebody rugged, right?
Somebody a little more rugged, because when he's saying, I won't repeat the line, but he's saying,
I really thought you were.
I do this thing very roughly. You can imagine.
He doesn't make love.
He doesn't make love. He does this other thing in a very rough fashion. And Jamie Dornan says it, and you're like, no, you don't. You're just like, she just looks like she could bend him over her knee a little bit,
Yeah.
And
He looks like the kind of guy that
That's
brings
the
you a
sequel.
glass of water.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when he's
Can I get you the pillow?
He says stuff like, if you say that one more time, I'm going to turn you over my knee. And like, it's silly and hilarious, but you do kind of want to believe that that's true, and you just don't with him.
Yeah.
It's nothing about him as an actor. He's just really miscast.
Jimbles, what'd you think?
I thought he was miscast, and I thought that he was every time the 90s too.
No,
Man,
I'm still on the
I think Colin Farrell is just too, like, he's got that intensity.
Yeah.
You could dial
He
in.
looks like the kind of guy too that will totally spank your ass.
Yeah, you probably, and you'd like it because it's Colin Farrell,
Yes.
you know.
He is a
You'd
charming
really
man. I
like
will say
it.
he's very nice in person.
See, we've put her in.
Like,
we put her in.
I'm in a whole
Wonderland
happy place.
now.
Like,
So-
They got the wrong Irishman, is what we're saying.
Exactly.
in 50
poor
Shades of
Jamie
Grey.
Dornan. It's like, not that he's a bad actor. This is not for him.
No, and the thing is, like, his reluctance was all over his face in every line, in every inflection, everything.
Kingsman was great, though. It was a lot of
Kingsman
fun.
was awesome.
Colin Firth as
So
Christian
good.
Grey. Hello.
Hello.
I believe I will put you over my knee.
It was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
It really was great.
Yeah. Kingsman was a lot of fun. I think, obviously, 50 Shades is going to probably hold off newcomers like Hot Tub Time Machine 2, which we gave a really negative review to, and then McFarlane USA.
Yeah.
I
think
think
that'll
both
do
of-
okay, but like.
I think those are, we're
Hot
looking at
Tub,
probably,
not so much.
I think they're both tracking at like 11. I think 50 Shades is pretty front loaded. It's going to drop, though, probably, I'd say mid-20s.
Yeah, I think it'll drop significantly.
I think it'll be up to 30.
I think it'll be 30, but that's still a big drop.
Yeah.
You know.
I want to just, there was one actual little news item I forgot to mention. I know it's an odd time to put it, but Robert Downey Jr. was talking about Captain America Civil War, and he said that basically the clues to, he's talking about how the beginning of Tony Stark's evolution into Civil War starts with Age of Ultron, and he tells Empire it's natural to change your views, like as you get older. The clues are in Ultron and where we might find him next. But what would it take for Tony to completely turn around everything he stood for, quote unquote, because he was the right-wing guy who could still do his own thing. It's a little bit of things falling up in a real-world continuum. What would you do? There's always the bigger overarching question that Joss brings up. Yada, yada, yada. So wouldn't it be interesting to see Tony doing something you wouldn't imagine? So I think basically, you know, he doesn't necessarily call him the villain of the movie, but we're certainly going to see a Tony Stark who might no longer be as lovable as we're used to seeing him, which is pretty daring since he was the face of your entire universe.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think it is out of character though.
Yeah.
Entirely.
No.
You know?
I mean, it's kind of following along the line in the comics of how Tony Stark progressed.
It's a progression of
Yeah.
character.
I think it's actually it is following the comics, which is why it works, but it is a very natural progression. I don't think that we as the audience are not going to